Hey, what's up guys? DevilDog Gamer here, and welcome to another Fucked Up Fridays. Last week you guys liked the episode, you guys wanted more and more and more, so I'm gonna bring you more Fucked Up Fridays. You know, I got plenty of stories. There's no shortage of them. But this week I'm playing some CS:GO, and must say I'm not the best Counter-Strike player ever, so don't hate, don't hate. I'm just bringing you something different, that's all. But this story involves me getting stabbed by a woman. Well, not really stabbed, it was more like getting cut the fuck up. But it's definitely one of those stories, don't trust the hot bitches because they're all crazy. But I'm sure ugly bitches are fucking crazy too. I don't know. Whatever. We're not gonna get into that story right now. But this chick, it was back when I was 17. And this chick was gorgeous. I mean, like, beautiful. She was a model, and I know when people say, oh, she's a model, you know, they exaggerate, but like, this chick was a legit model. She would like do surf gear stuff, like model surf gear and shit, and she was really hot, but there was something wrong with her. She was a fucking alcoholic and a drug addict. She would be, you know, coke, marijuana, pills, fucking drinking until she's drunk at like 11 a.m. It was always a challenge to deal with her, and the funny part about it is me and my buddy were both trying to get with her at the same time. And we ended up stopped being friends because of her, and I kind of wish he had gotten her, knowing what, you know, what I went through and everything else. I mean, geez, probably would have saved me a little bit of trouble, don't you think? But anyways, I dated her for about 9 months, and we had some trying times. I mean, she was kind of a loose cannon, and I'd say I had my ways of reeling her back in, you know, when she started getting out of control. But she used to fight me. I mean, I would tell her she's too drunk to drive. Be like, no, you can't fucking drive. It's like noon and you're plastered. And she would, like, seriously, like, fist fight me for the keys to her car. Like, no joke. She'd lose, but I mean, she would fist fight me. But I mean, that's the kind of chick she was. Oh yeah, fallen, kill, nice job. And that's just how she was. And her parents were separated at the time, so she had lived down here with her dad, and her mom lived up in Orlando. And her dad was like one of those no-nonsense kind of guys, like, stop fucking up, you know, you don't need to be doing this, all the rules and shit. And she didn't like that, so she was constantly butting heads with him, and I was always like the middleman in the deal. Like, he would tell me to fucking take care of her and, like, you know, not let her do this bullshit, and then she would be like, fuck him, I want to do this shit anyways. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. So eventually it got to the point where her dad was like fed up with it and like wigged the hell out on her, and of course she didn't like it. She didn't like his rules and was like, fuck you, I'm moving with my mom. And I'm like, oh cool, so now I got a girlfriend that lives like an hour away. That's amazing. It's amazing. This is totally gonna be fun. So she ended up moving up there, and she was up there for, I don't know, I think about a month, and she was living with all kinds of family. So she came down because she needed to get some stuff, and she came and saw me, and she's like, hey, why don't you come up to Orlando with me for like a week or two? I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. So I called out of work, said I ain't gonna be there for a few weeks. Drove up to Orlando with her, and knowing what I know now, I should have never fucking gone. I should have never fucking gone. Should have just stayed my ass home, parked in front of the TV. But nope, pussy always gets you. It always gets you. It always gets you into trouble. The first thing you gotta learn. But went up to Orlando with her. She had already had a few friends up there from, you know, just going to visit her mom and shit. So I'm sitting there getting to know all her family that I've never met before, and you know, they're all like, oh, he's cool, I like him, blah blah blah. And later that night comes around, she's like, oh, we're gonna go hang out with a bunch of my friends. I'm like, alright. Well, her friends turned into be like the shadiest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. Like, straight up, like, drug deal in the freaking trailer park kind of friends. I'm like, this is not cool. Like, not cool at all. Like, I didn't want anything to do with this shit. So she ends up taking me to this party where there's a bunch of people and stuff. And this was at like 9:30. And like, I'm stressed out already. I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, I don't like the people I'm around. I don't like where I'm at. She's already pissing me off because she's just doing her own thing and stuff. And I don't know. I was just like, whatever. So the last thing I remember of that night is sitting in a plastic lawn chair with a bottle of Jose Cuervo and taking a big old swig of it. and that's it. That's the last thing I remember. That's the last thing I remember. Now, fast forward to like noon the next day. I wake up on her mom's couch with no shirt, big ass bandage over my right hand, and like I feel like somebody like beat the fuck out of me. Like somebody just literally beat the shit out of me. And I'm like, and like as soon as I wake up, it was like perfectly timed. Her mom comes walking out of her room and she's like, "Hey, wake up, we gotta go pick her up from jail." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What happened?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it." So I'm like, "Okay." So I go with them, pick her up out of jail, bail her out of jail. She won't talk to me. I have a fucking huge ass bandage on my hand. I'm like, no, I don't know where my shirt is. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And so her cousin who lived there with her pretty much filled me in on what happened that night. So pretty much, we'll get to how I hurt my hand. I just want to tell the rest of the story. Pretty much, I got drunk. Like, retarded drunk. But apparently I was having a good time. Like, I was just being one of those happy-go-lucky drunks where, you know, I'm friends with everybody and stuff, and like, you're my new best friend kind of deal. Apparently she was drunk, and she didn't like the way I was acting. So she decided to beat the crap out of me while I was laying on the ground laughing for some reason. I was laying on the ground laughing, having a good time, and she's literally like kicking me in the face apparently. So all her friends are like freaking out and stuff and telling her to go home. So I get in the car with her. She's drunk as fuck, drives back to her house. Apparently come barging through the door at like 3 o'clock in the morning. That was a nice shot. That was a nice shot. That was a nice kill. Come barging in her house at 3 o'clock in the morning. She's all yelling and screaming, and I'm trying to be quiet. Everybody in the house wakes up. Apparently, I start puking my brains out, so I'm in the bathroom laying next to the toilet, like puking my brains out. Apparently, she was, she was like kicking me while I'm sitting there puking in the toilet, and like everyone's trying to get her off me. And apparently, with my, I don't know, super powered drunk, you know, super drunk powers, I had kicked her to get her off of me while I'm laying there puking in the toilet, and she flew into the wall and like busted up the drywall and shit. I don't know, I don't remember that. But she was beating the crap out of me, so it was worth it, I guess. Then apparently after that, she got a phone, an actual phone, you know, one of the normal, the old school ones, the cord ones, disconnected from the wall and bashed me over the head with it while I'm puking in the toilet, saying it's all my fault or some stupid shit. I don't know, she was crazy. So after that, her mom decided she was going to call the cops because she was threatening her and stuff. So she called the cops. Cops came in, looked at me puking on the toilet, looked at her, put her in handcuffs, took her away. So that's how she ended up in jail. As far as where my shirt was, apparently I'd puked all over it and threw it out the car window. That's amazing. That sounds like a normal day for me. But as for the hand, this is the best part. Now, back in those days, I didn't have a gun on me 24/7, so I had a nice little pocket knife. You know, I think it was like a 4-inch blade. It's a pretty nice one. I just used it for like normal shit, like if I had to cut something open or stuff. Never really self-defense. Well, apparently, while we were at the party, sometime during the party, like she had gotten a hold of it. Like she'd either asked for it or I'd given it to her. I don't remember these things. And during that night, during that time, with her having it, she popped it out and I guess was pointing it at my face or something like that, and I pushed her away. I said, "Get that thing out of my face," or something like that. Well, her response to that was to try to fucking slash me with it, and of course, what does everybody do when a knife's coming at them like a dumbass? They put their hand up. Well, guess what? I put my hand up and I got slit the fuck up all across my palm, like nice and deep and nasty. Not deep enough for stitches, but it was still fucking cut. So needless to say, they fucking bandaged me up and fucking everybody ignored her because she had a knife. Nobody wanted to call the cops for some reason. But that's pretty much how I cut my hand. A bitch fucking sliced me. Like I got shanked by a bitch. That's retarded. But it was funny because after she got out of jail, we pretty much broke up. I was like, this is retarded. I was like, I can't believe I'm waking up to this bullshit. I'm so tired of it. So, of course, since she drove me down there, and she wasn't going to drive me up back to my house now an hour away, I had to call my mom and dad and explain to them what the fuck happened. They were none too happy with me. They were quite pissed. So they drove an hour up. I had to sit there for an hour in this awkward house all of a sudden. and wait for them to come to get me. And it was the most awkward ride home because they were like, "You're such an idiot," blah blah blah, you know, telling you to get your shit back together kind of deal, like normal parents. But hey, that's what parents are for. They need to sort you out every once in a while, then they do it. Definitely needed sorting out because that chick was bad news. But that's pretty much the story how I got cut. I mean, I've never had any other female beat me up or cut me ever since. I would definitely say I would never let that happen again, but when you're drunk and you don't really give a shit, shit happens, I guess. Alright guys, but that's pretty much my story. No point dragging it on any longer. If you liked it, leave a comment. If you want to see more Fucked Up Fridays, maybe some more stories about crazy ex-girlfriends, let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, talk to you later. Peace.